Let's talk about the new film Obsession, which I had the opportunity to watch at TIFF 2025. One of my favorite films at the festival, top 5 for sure for me. I watched a total of 17 films, just so you know, and this was in the top 5. I already did a review for Dead Man's War, which was my favorite film at the festival, and I'll also be talking about some of the other movies I watched. I think I'm going to review all of them, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to have a lot of videos your way. But Obsession was part of the Midnight Madness release, so this is one of the few horror movies I was able to catch at TIFF this year, which is always great to catch a movie at TIFF, especially for Midnight Madness, because the whole crowd just goes crazy with it, right? So this is one of those movies that is initially on my list of most anticipated, and the reason for that was because it was directed by Curry Barker. If you don't know who Curry Barker is, he is a filmmaker YouTuber. He does have a YouTube channel you can check out if you want. I'll leave it down below. But he had a viral sort of YouTube feature length short. It was like an hour. I don't know what you want to call that, a short or a feature length, but it was called Milk and Cereal. It's psychotic, it's deranged, but it's exactly what you need to watch to prepare for what Obsession is. Because Milk and Cereal, as crazy as it was, as demented as it was, it does not come close to what Obsession is. This movie is fucking bonkers. I'm telling you, this movie really caught me off guard with just how extreme it goes in some areas. So the film is a movie that follows a young man who comes across a little like trinket, and this little trinket says, "I'll grant you whatever wish you want. Just say it, snap it, and then it's gonna happen." So he thinks to himself, what do I want the most, right? Anybody would say, I want a ton of money, I want this, right? No, but he says, I want this coworker that I've been friends with for a long time to be in love with me, obsessed with me. You already know where this is going to go with. So this thing actually works, and we see the coworker immediately be in love and obsessed with him. And things take a dark turn because, of course, you know, be careful what you wish for. And yes, be careful right here. This movie is insanity. Michael Johnson here stars as the main character, Bear. I think he does an incredible job at being this guy that you kind of feel bad for. You kind of hate him at the same time. And you're just like, well, that's what you asked for, so take what you asked for, right? He is a great actor, honestly. I'm very excited to see more of Michael Johnson here. The performances here are incredible. Indi Navarrete here plays the coworker that becomes obsessed, Nikki. And I'm going to tell you this. If Indi Navarrete didn't put 110% into her performance for this movie would not have worked. At the beginning, towards the end and all of that, it would have been over. This movie would not work if Indi Navarrete wasn't giving a more than stellar performance. Like, she had to give 110%, and she even goes above that in certain scenes. She really, truly is the heart of this movie. She's what keeps it going. Amazing, amazing performance from this actress, and can't wait to see her more in horror films or whatever the case may be. I think she has a bright future ahead of her. The rest of the supporting cast as well, very funny characters. I think that this script is very sharp. It is very much so feeling fresh in comparison to a lot of the horror movies we get a lot nowadays. And I really love that because this is Curry Barker, who is a YouTuber coming into the realm of bigger studio, right? And we saw it with Rocka Rocka not too long ago. We're seeing it with Chris Stuckman as well, with Shelby Oaks coming out in a few weeks. This sort of leap as to a YouTuber, can they really be a filmmaker, is starting to become more plausible, which is great. I love that I'm seeing these guys sort of bridge the gap into that world over there, right? Which is always amazing to see as an aspiring filmmaker over here. So I'm really happy that Curry Barker was able to do that leap, and it showcased wonderfully on the screen. So behind the cameras and everything, I think Curry Barker's doing a great job. Although I think that the movie does wear its influences on its sleeves at times, it is something that I think was executed well. There's a lot of here in this movie that feels like maybe other movies you've seen before, maybe like Pulse or even Talk to Me, talking about the Rocka Rocka brothers. There's a sort of sense that Curry Barker saw those movies and sort of pulls a little bit of it, but at the same time you can see that he's doing his own sort of twist and essence to it, because there's a lot of the uncanny horror in this movie, and maybe it's horror that you've seen in films like Smile as well, but there's something different that Curry's doing with it as well. There's an all-time scare in this movie that I don't want to tell you what it is, just when you watch it you'll know that it is just so well executed. It's not even doing like a random loud noise or anything like that, or a gruesome image. It is just what's happening on the screen that just feels so weird, so creepy, and just makes you shiver. Honestly, I felt my skin crawl in that scene, and I'm not even telling you that as just a way to hype you up. That is the truth right there. I was just like, what is going on there? Lady in front of me completely jumped high up on her seat because of that scene, and it is just amazing work that is being done to really elevate these scares. And at the same time, these scares are happening and then you're getting hit with a punchline for a joke. And it's just this combination of horror and comedy that is just so wonderfully done and really, like, to me, cements Curry Barker as an interesting voice for the future. Really a really amazing job from this director here, and I'm super excited to see what they do next. I think this movie really is such a great film, especially for a first-time director. It is clocking in at 1:35, I believe, if I remember correctly, or a minute. And I know I'm gushing over it. I love it a lot, but I did have some problems with it. I do believe that the movie kind of has a bit of a slow start at the beginning. You're really just there watching as things are starting to be developed and established, which is great, right? You do need to establish sort of the foundation for a film like this. You do need to get these characters in motion and set the whole arena for us, right? But I think it spends a little bit too much trying to set up, and then by the time it's going, it's good, but then you remember what just happened for the last like 20-30 minutes, and you're just like, we kind of got into this a little bit quicker, right? And that's the only problem I had with the film. And I saw it throughout my screening. A couple people were getting up and some people were heading out. I don't know if some people returned or not, but I could see people were wondering, where is this going? Because I thought that to myself as well, as somebody who didn't know nothing about the film going into it, just besides the name and the picture I'm using, because there's nothing else I can use for it right now. I was just like, yeah, I don't know. This movie better get somewhere a little bit quicker before I decide to like be like, yeah, I don't know about this movie anymore. Luckily, however, the movie really finds its footing and gets going in that middle part, and towards the middle to the end, it just goes and it doesn't let you go, which I would have hoped the movie found a bit more of that pacing at the beginning. That's my only problem with it. It feels a little bit too slow at the beginning, especially for what it's trying to set up. I think it took a little bit too long. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel. I don't know how people will feel about it, or if they'll change it once it does release to a wider audience. We'll see. But I overall did enjoy this movie a lot. I thought that it was great. It is very weird. It uses a lot of the uncanny horror, which I don't think we get enough of, and we should. I think uncanny horror is so underrated. This weird awkwardness that comes with it is just something that really transports you somewhere else, and the creepiness vibe of it that gets under your skin is just something we don't have enough of. So I do hope we get more of that in the future, and I hope this movie is sort of setting that tone for what comes next. Overall, I'm a fan of it. I'm excited to see Curry Barker and his career progress more from here. If you're in for a movie that is going to leave you scared and feeling creeped out all day after watching it, this one's definitely it. Inda Navarrete is a star, a true talent in this movie. The rest of the cast as well did amazingly. There is a scene at the end, towards the end, that is just gonna leave you with your mouth on the floor at just how brutal it gets. This movie's pretty brutal, I will tell you. It might not sound like it, but it goes to some brutal lengths, and it is just mean at times. Truly despicable, even, I would say. So just bear that in mind, but definitely best film at Midnight Madness at TIFF, in my opinion, and one of my favorites of the whole festival as well. But I'll be covering more films from TIFF, so stay tuned for that. If you have heard about Curry Barker, let me know what you think about his film Milk and Cereal, if you enjoyed it or not, and if you're excited for Obsession, or if you were at TIFF and you watched Obsession, let me know what you thought about it, or if you're watching it at Fantastic Fest as well. Very curious to hear more people's thoughts on it. I didn't see people be too high on it either after I watched it, so I'm curious to see once it releases to more people what they think. To me, it was one of the best horror films of the year, and it's up there with The Undertone, another film I watched at Fantasia, and one of my favorite films of the year as well. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments down below. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers. That's our big goal. Stay tuned for our other reviews coming out throughout the whole week. I'm going to try and cover all 17 films from TIFF and also some other movies and all of that. Check out our review on him. I also will have an ending explained as well that maybe is up by the time you're watching this, so stay tuned. But as always, I'll see you all next time. Stay safe, stay positive.